Hi guys! So I'm thinking for today's video, we do a day in the life as a CEO. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So I want to start off by playing the Instagram Reel, YouTube Short, TikTok. It was really made for Instagram Reels though, that I posted last week. So let's watch that together, shall we?
A few years ago, I was running a team of nearly 40 people. I was on calls from 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. straight every single day. And on the weekends, I batch filmed content to keep up with posting on all of my social media platforms daily. And before that, I was a full-time school teacher building my business on the side, which means I'd wake up at 4 a.m., run and work on the business before school, teach all day, and then work on the business until I went to sleep. I worked every holiday, Christmas morning, vacations. I didn't take a single day off for 7 years. Then I came across a quote that reads, "Once she stopped rushing through life, she was amazed at how much life she had time for." That's when my shift towards slow living and breaking up with hustle culture began. Today, my mornings look very different, and the impact that a slow, intentional routine has had on my nervous system, my hormones, and my business has been pretty profound. If you want to see my time-stamped 6 a.m. morning routine, comment part 2 and I'll make it happen. Hustle culture is in.
What do we think about that, huh? So my journey through slow living, I started to get interested in slow living many years ago. I was so attracted to it, but so addicted to hustling that it was just this dream on the horizon. And you know, hustling in my 20s was appropriate. I had the time for it, but as I get older, I'm getting married. I actually have been engaged for exactly a year now, and I'll be engaged for another year. But just thinking about, you know, how my life is going to progress, I need to learn how to slow down. And my journey into that has really taken off over the past few months, I would say. So here is what a day in my life looks like as I unlearn hustle culture. I do not start work until 8 a.m. And like I said, I'm gonna do a time-stamped exactly what happens from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I used to start work at like 6:30 a.m. Now I don't start until 8 a.m. So that's all done. It's 8 a.m. now. Well, it's actually 8:21 because I did my makeup because I'm about to film. So first thing on the agenda today is to film some brand partnership videos. So let's go do that. It works overnight, which means that this problem should be solved. Okay, the aftermath of these videos. So there's always a lot of cleanup. The funny thing, I've made this analogy before, that prepping my videos, getting my videos out is very similar to being successful in a healthy lifestyle in terms of your food. There's an extraordinary amount of prep, an extraordinary amount of cleanup, and the actual act of filming. I just spent 7 minutes actually filming the video, but it's like hours of prep work and editing that happens afterward. And you do it all so that you can get this beautiful video. But very similar to cooking and meal prepping and being successful in this lifestyle is that it's like the 80-20 principle. 20% in business, they say 20% of work that you do is actually profit promoting work, brings in money. So if you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I'll spend so much time prepping, so much time cleaning up, a famous quote that my Nana used to say, God rest her soul, was on holidays, she'd say, it takes all day to make, and it's gone in 10 minutes. What do you think? Can we be done now, V? Did we finish? Okay, brand partnership filming is done. It is time for me to get some grub. We're gonna make a meal here. Also, I get fully dressed now. I used to, guys, like I was insane. It was in my mind a waste of time to get dressed in something cute because the amount of time I would spend picking out an outfit in my mind was too much time. Like I had to be working. Addicted to working, workaholic. But I was talking about this in a previous vlog, how all these gorgeous clothes that hang in our closet that we're waiting for the perfect time to wear them. Somebody has to invite us to a brunch. It has to be the perfect date night. We have to be on vacation. No, it's a Monday. I'm staying at home all day today until my commute at the end of the day, which I'll tell you about. This outfit is not leaving the house, but I love looking cute and adorable. And if prancing around my little apartment wearing a cute outfit brings me joy, why aren't I doing it? On to the food. We are going to make a blood sugar balancing breakfast. I'm actually going to add this to the Slim program right now. So this is something I've been doing lately, and my gorgeous assistant Macy has been helping me. I will create the meal. I've been pretty much documenting every meal I've been having and just adding it to the recipe library in Slim. So I'll make the meal, take a picture of it, send it to Macy, send her the ingredients and instructions, and she will add it into the recipe library. So let's do that. And I added an anti-inflammatory breakfast to the recipe library in the Slim program last week. I'm gonna do a blood sugar balancing breakfast now, and I'm gonna continue to add more to the recipe library that are more addressed to certain ailments and concerns. And guys, as I'm making this, I just realized I wasn't even gonna talk about this, and this just popped into my head that I should share this with you. You know, I am obsessed with Apothekary. I love them. I swear they have a tincture for everything. This is called the Sugar Kick for blood sugar support. So I'll link this one below, and it's a great thing to take to support healthy, normal blood sugar levels. So you take it before a meal. Linked below. Leafy greens, you might notice, this is weird, I like my leafy greens when they've been sitting out and they've wilted a little bit. I don't like them cold and crunchy, which I know is insane. Anybody else? My mother-in-law actually, we are simpatico on this one. She's the same way. And Japanese sweet potato, which I've already cooked. For the tofu, I took my caraway pan that I love, 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 and I am sort of pan frying this in a combination of liquid aminos and water. And then I am taking a Japanese sweet potato that I baked the day before, put it in the fridge to dense up overnight, cut it open, and then I'm putting on this Manna Organics nut butter that I love. I love that company. I'm drizzling that on and adding flaxseed and cinnamon. And then I'm having greens here that have the lemon herb tahini from kava dressing. And then I'm having strawberries and cherries. Okay, here I am with my meal. Now, before I meditate and eat and all of that, I'm going to post my short form videos on YouTube Shorts and on IG. And then we'll get to grubbing. So the videos are always ready to go, always in my to post folder on my business phone. Before I post, I'm gonna watch it all the way through, make sure it's all good. This is your stomach, and this is the crazy thing that happens. So I watch the video on my phone before I post, and then I upload it, watch it before I post again, and then post. I watch the video 100 times before I post. This is your stomach, and this is the crazy thing that happens inside of your stomach when you eat. Okay, everything has been posted, and now I'm just responding to a little issue that my assistant brought up. This is like part of being a business owner is you have to, if you go like this, problems will arise. There will be things that you have to address. There's always going to be something that needs to be done here in the business. And this can truly, doesn't even have to apply to just business owners. Any line of work that you're in. If you stare at something long enough, you're going to find a problem. Something is going to happen that needs to be addressed. And so this is why I put the phone away in situations like these. Let me just address this real quick. And I will say this is an area where I'm still learning, and my journey is still happening in slow living, because I think true slow living would be this doesn't have to be addressed right now. So this is, the process of learning and not being too hard on yourself and having grace is being aware of when you're engaging in something that isn't aligned with your long-term vision of yourself. So I'm aware that what I'm doing right now by addressing this when I should be eating and having my meal is not aligned with the person that I want to be in the long term. However, something James Clear talks about is that Think of it like you have two ballot boxes in front of you, the person that you want to be and the person that you're trying to let go of. The goal is not to unanimously win the election and put all of your casts in that ballot box. The goal is to just win the election. So if sometimes you cast a vote in the ballot box of the old you, like I'm doing right now by responding to this message when I should just put the phone away and respond to it after my meal, I'm aware of it and I'm committed to continuing to work on it. I am gonna respond to this message though. Yes, okay, so here we are. You saw everything that I put on the plate here. And as always, I'm going to take a minute to meditate. I'm gonna pull up my meditation on the Slim app and let's see what today's meditation is that I recorded months ago, but I forget. Ooh, this one's gonna speak to me today. Okay, let's play it.
I thought I'd solved a problem when really I was creating new ones by taking the path of least resistance.
I mean, that speaks to me in my addiction to hustle culture. It reminds me of this book that I read years ago called Do Nothing. And I think speaking to the fact that I read this book, I was still brunette. It was before I even touched my hair. So it was 2021. Yeah, because I remember I went to see Dylan and Reeves was pregnant. And I was reading that book called Do Nothing. And the premise of the book was that once the Industrial Revolution started and it was no longer the case of, oh, this wagon has a broken wheel, so let's fix that one wheel and now the job is completed, to now we have machines that can do this, so let's create as many wagons as possible and as many wheels as possible. And we no longer are looking at, here's the one task at hand, complete that one task. Now we have machines that can automate everything, so let's create an unlimited amount of tasks to do, and work is never done because now the sky's the limit. There's literally an unlimited work that we're able to do. And looking at the comparison between how our grandparents used to live, where life was a lot slower, and comparing how we live, they would see how we live. They'd say, you can communicate on your phone, you can FaceTime with another. You guys must have so much time. You must have so much free time because things are done so quickly now. It's like, no, actually, the more productivity tools I have and the more I produce, the less time I have. When I'm standing in the grocery store, that's an opportunity to check my emails. Work is never done. And the more access I have to work, the more work there is to do. And it is so speaking to me what the meditation quote was for today and the affirmation for today, because my addiction to hustle culture made me think that I was getting more done when really what I was doing was training my body to be in a mode where work was never done. There was always something to do, and what was done was never enough. So as it speaks to you in your health journey, you think that there's some reason why you're not taking the path of most resistance because it feels difficult, but your desire to take the path of least resistance is creating more problems for yourself. And it's so true when it comes to food because, oh, this takes too long to prep, it's too much work, I have all these other things going on, I need to attend to work and the kids and whatever it is right now, I can't focus on my health. If you don't make time for your wellness, you're going to be forced to make time for your sickness. And with that, I need to eat because there's more work I need to do and I can't do that other work if I don't eat. I'm at my desk with the rest of my meal. I had the strawberries, most of the cherries I'm about to eat, and some of the tofu I'm about to eat the rest of the meal. And this is speaking to, ideally, in an ideal situation, perfect slow living is that I eat my entire meal in peace and then I go back to work. But sort of like what I was talking about earlier, to be okay with messy progress and not focusing on the black and white thinking of I'm either doing this perfectly or I'm not doing it perfectly, and if I can't do it perfectly, then screw it. So what I've been doing, which is a huge improvement from what I used to do, which was either completely work through lunch or skip lunch, not prioritize slowing down, fueling, and then going back to work. It was like work was priority number one, and then fueling myself was priority number two, and work always took precedence. So now what I do, which is a massive improvement, it is a huge step forward from what it used to be, is I'll have a few moments with my meal. I always meditate. Meditating is a non-negotiable. I've done it for almost 1,000 days in a row. I always meditate. I have a few moments with my meal, eat some of my meal in complete peace, and then I go back to work. I know myself well enough that I'm not the type of person where if I'm working and eating at the same time, I'll mindlessly eat. I'm actually not that person. I actually eat a lot more slowly when I work because work is my number one priority. It's like all I am thinking about. So I actually end up eating my meal a lot more slowly when I'm working because my hands are busy, I'm working, and then I dip into some food. But this is part of knowing yourself as well. If you are the type of person that's gonna mindlessly eat, if you eat and work at the same time, then you cannot mix those things. But so there's two sort of takeaways here. Number one, being okay with messy progress. I know that in an ideal situation, I would completely eat in peace and then go back to work. And I'm okay with the fact that what I'm doing right now is probably not what I want for myself. Actually, it might be, but this is part of the process too. I actually enjoy working and eating at the same time. All of this to say, drop the black and white thinking that whatever goal you're working toward, you have to do it absolutely perfectly starting today. This is all about making progress and being aware of where you are in your journey. And then the second thing is just knowing yourself and being honest with yourself. If you're somebody that can't mix eating and food, then don't. If you're somebody like me that I can do it and I won't mindlessly eat, then be honest with yourself about that. So I'm going to eat and then I'll tell you about the work that I'm doing. Okay, so the work. What is the work? There are a few things that I need to do before my meetings start today. Meetings are starting at 2:45 today and go until about 6:30, and I'll tell you exactly what those meetings are when that time comes. So between now and 2:45, I have some things to do. I need to respond to messages from my clients, I need to respond to my emails, I need to prep for tonight's Q&A. That's one of the calls that I have, 5 p.m. every Monday. I've been doing it this is like my 7th year, 6+ years of a Q&A with my clients every single Monday at 5 o'clock. I have never missed a week in 6 years. So I just like they submit the questions ahead of time. You can also ask questions live, but I just like to look over the questions and prepare and make sure that I can give nice, thorough answers during the Q&A. So I'm gonna prepare for those, prepare for that. Everything that I filmed today, I don't have time to edit today. So I'm just gonna put it onto my computer so that I'll be able to edit it during the week. I need to prepare for one of the meetings that I have later today. I need to update a couple of things on the supplements website. So as you know, I have my vitamin B12 and my vitamin D3, and what I really want to add to the website, so I'm gonna put out sort of a feeler here and anybody watching this video who wants to participate in this as well, let me know. But I really would love to have on my website testimonials from you who actually use the product, because I get so many great reviews, written reviews of people saying like my energy has improved so much, my husband has noticed, I feel it's night and day how I used to feel to how I feel now energetically from taking the supplements. Those are written, but I don't have photos of the people or videos of them. And I really want to have that on the website of women like talking to the camera saying, this product has changed my life. That needs to be added to the website. So I'm going to put out some feelers for anybody who might want to be featured on the website that has had a really great experience with my supplements, so that individuals that might be interested can see that and relate to it, and it will push them to the edge of making a great decision, which is getting the supplements. Which, by the way, I just added because I feel so confident in these. They're so well made that I just added a 30-day risk-free money back guarantee. So if you don't like them, I will give you your money back. That's how confident I feel in these, and how high quality they are, and how much I really believe in them and want to get them out to people. So if you've been thinking about the supplements, buy them. I'll give you your money back if you don't like them. Another pillar that I'm going to add to my business is, today was a big filming day, so not as much like working on the business. Today was really a lot of filming in the morning, doing what I need to do during this time to keep the lights on, and then I have meetings from 2:45 until like 6:30. So more of the computer work will be tomorrow. But the last thing that I got to get started today is LTK. I currently use Amazon Storefront. I'm going to move over to LTK so that in every video you see of mine, everything that you see, you will be able to shop. If you're looking at something, you're like, oh, I wonder what desk she's using, or I wonder where she got those frames, or whatever it is, you will be able to shop it. So my assistant is helping me transition over to that right now. I need to make her an SOP. SOP is standard operating procedure. And my assistant, Macy, I've had her for like since before COVID, like 6 years she's been my assistant. She is the best. And whenever I ask her to do a task, I always write out exactly what needs to be done. So I need to write that out for her so that she can help me with that. Then I'll have my meetings and then I'll do my wind down routine. So I live and die by my Google Calendar. Every week on Friday, I set my calendar for the following week. And then part of my shutdown routine every day, which I'll share with you later, is that I set my calendar for the next day. And I literally live, breathe, and die by this thing. So let's get into that computer work. First call is with one of my besties, Michaela. Michaela and I went to college together. We're best friends. We are both business owners. We have a call every week where we go over business ideas, brainstorm, give each other feedback. So that's one of my favorite calls is with her because she's like my best friend, but also we lift each other up and we help each other. So got that. And then I have the live Q&A after that with my clients where I answer all their questions. I'll give you a little sneak peek of what that looks like. And then at 5:30, I have a call with my clients. If you are part of the Slim program, you do have the opportunity to have a membership where you get calls with me. So that call is after that. So just a few calls. I actually had another call as well. I just got off that call, but that one's confidential. Hi guys, welcome to today's live Q&A. I'm so happy to have you all here. Okay, so on the food options, when you get your meal, you can click swap meal and you can choose a different meal. Or you can go to the recipe library and you can choose new things and add them into your food diary so that you can continue to keep track. Q&A is done. Calls are all done. I need to do one more thing. It's 6:41 right now and I need to get what I'm going to share tomorrow on socials all prepared. So that needs to be done. I'm going to show you guys my shutdown routine tomorrow because I need to get this day wrapped up here. So we'll see that tomorrow. Good morning. I am BFB again, back for breakfast again. This has been my go-to breakfast for this week, which usually tends to happen because you buy things and you gotta use them. My friend Michaela talks about her 3-2-1 method, 3 dinners, 2 lunches, 1 breakfast. So breakfast of the week, we have tofu, spinach. These are gonna be a pairing, avocado. And then for my fruit, I'm gonna choose cherries. I went to the grocery store and got a ton of fresh summer fruit. So I got cherries, nectarine, apple, oranges, melon. Oh, I forgot there's melon. I'm gonna stick with cherries. We're gonna make some tofu scramble, avocado toast, fruit, let's do it. So I just do squeeze a lemon in with the avocado, mash her up, then she's ready. Cherries are in season, baby. When it is cherry season, watch out. So cherries, of course. And then I have just been loving the tofu scramble. I just take extra firm tofu and mash it up in a skillet. I love my caraway pan. It's non-toxic. I don't use any oil. And add in turmeric, spinach, black pepper, and you can add in any other spices. You can use some black salt. Is that what it's called? Yeah, black salt if you want to get that eggy flavor or not. And then adding in avocado toast, of course. And then this everything. Oh no, that's red pepper flakes. And then also some black pepper as well. You know I love my shallow, low bowls. I got these new ones and I'll link them down below if I can find them online. I should be able to. But this means that I present to you like this. You can't see it. I need to go like this. We have a problem here. Anyway, I'm in my office because I have decided that I want to run a mid-year SOS reboot. So Every January, I do SOS Reboot for my past clients who want to come back and do a refresher. I've done it every year since 2020. So I've done 5 SOS Reboots. And I always get people who say when we're signing up, like, oh, now's not a good time for me, but would you consider doing a mid-year reboot? Or people will finish the program and they say, is there going to be any sort of mid-year reboot instead of just the traditional SOS reboot? And so I decided I'm going to run a mid-year reboot this year. So I'm going to send out my first email about that right now. And what do you want me to take a taste of? I think I'm going to take a taste of a cherry because it's the season. And you know what cherries remind me of? They remind me of Big Brother because I used to always watch Big Brother at night in the summer and eat my cherries, which I still do, but Big Brother hasn't started yet. So good. So if you're a past client of mine, by the time you're watching this email, you should have gotten an email about SOS Reboot. If you didn't and you're interested, send me an email. Happy Cheeky Title Saturday, everyone. As you may or may not know, every Saturday I post a vlog with a cheeky title. We vlog, then we talk about said title. So today's title is I've Changed, and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about in relation to this title. And normally I take the route of sort of wisdom and helping you change your perspective and not as much talking about what's going on in my brain and being more personal and vulnerable. That's very much in my personality. I have the personality type of somebody who, like, in my real life, I'm a closed book. The people that know me will be like, she is locked up, like you don't get inside there. I just have never been the type of person that, like, when you know those people who they meet you and they like tell you their entire lives. That is not me. I'm also somebody who has always hated when people worried about me, or like, I am very independent. Like, I'm gonna take care of myself. If anything's going on, nobody's gonna hear a peep about it. I'm gonna take care of it. That's always been my personality. And so on these videos as well, it's hard for me to talk about what's going on in my brain. And I actually think for this video, I want to do that because it will be very relatable, and whatever change you are trying to make in your life, I'm just going to talk about how I'm working through the change that I'm making in my life. I was about to say the change that I'm trying to make, but something that one of the mindset coaches in Slim used to say, Natalie, she would say, take trying out of your vocabulary. That gives you sort of permission to not succeed. Instead of saying I'm trying to make a change, I am making a change. So the change, as you sort of saw in this video, is changing from my hustle, go, businesswoman, busy bee, to more of a slow living, cozy entrepreneur is a term that I love, and working smarter, not harder, focusing on productivity over busyness, and just not grinding like I have literally my entire life. Always had a job growing up, always picked up shifts. Like, I worked so much growing up and all through college. Like, I worked at a tanning salon in college for $7 an hour before taxes. After taxes, I took home like $5 an hour, and the benefit of working at the tanning salon was you could use the beds for free. I've never been in a tanning bed in my life. That's just how desperate I was to make money and work, and just always been a really hard worker. Like, when I was in college, I had a million jobs. I was an RA, I was a manager for Greek life, I was the house mom of the sorority house that I lived in, I worked off campus at the tanning salon, I was an office manager for resident life. Like, I had every job imaginable, and that's always been in my nature. And perhaps this is the Pisces in me, to have a draw toward two different lives. There's one side of me that wants to continue going, and like killing myself as a businesswoman. And there's another side of me that's always been inside of me that loves a cozy, simple, quiet life, which I do. I love my cozy, simple, no drama life. I do not like drama. I don't like chaos. Chaos does not follow me. You know, some people where it's like chaos follows them, they thrive on chaos. Like, could not be me, cannot relate. I want as few problems as possible. If I get to the end of the day and nothing bad happened, like, it's the best day of my life. Like, I want as little chaos as possible. And I want to be a mom. I want to start a family. Not right now. There's no wedding ring. This is an engagement ring. This is not a wedding ring. So not yet. Gotta have my wedding first. But there's a saying, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And I really do want to be a mom and will be a mom. And that's a part of me that I'd feel incomplete and empty if I never got to do that. It would be extraordinarily difficult, impossible. It would be impossible to continue at the pace that I had been going at and be a mom at the same time. And that was a huge driver toward shifting my business model and how I operate my life, to be able to have more open time to spend potentially with a family. Now, the reason why it's so hard for me to do this is because I care so deeply about my community, everybody who watches these videos, my clients, everyone in the Slim program, that, and this never will be the case, I never wanted it to be the case that my community had to get less of me and less quality of me. And I never wanted that to be the case, that in my desire to like start a family, I didn't want my community, the people that watch these videos, I didn't want to like put out less videos. I don't want to have a program that's not as good. All of that absolutely must be maintained as I go through this journey. And I was so fearful that that was going to be impossible. In my mind, in order to continue to have a business that serves people and have a thriving community and be able to help people, in my mind, in order to do that, I had to be working from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the reason why I thought that way was because my brain had never seen anything else. That was all it knew. But just because one way works doesn't mean another way doesn't work. And it was so hard for me to believe that I could do things differently and get a better outcome. Because in my mind, it was like, okay, A leads to B. So if I do C, that's not gonna lead to B anymore. It's gonna lead to something much worse. But where I had to change my mindset was being more open-minded and optimistic that, hey, maybe if you change things, you'll actually show up better for your community. You'll be able to put out higher quality content. The Slim program will improve because you'll be coming from a place of abundance and calmness and not from a place of urgency and being rushed. This could be the greatest thing for your business and for your community. And I sort of have to go on faith here that I'm not gonna believe it until I see it. And that's the tricky thing when you're making changes, is it seems impossible until you have the evidence and the proof right in front of you. You can't think your way into acting. You have to act your way into thinking. And that's something I'm doing here, but I think about what I say to my clients, because when I work with clients in the Slim program, or if somebody joins the Slim program, I'm like, I would bet $1 billion that you will be successful on this diet if you follow it to a T. The client cannot comprehend that because it hasn't happened yet. They don't have the evidence. But once it happens, it becomes so clear and so obvious to them. And that's sort of the way that I'm going with my business too. And this change is, I'm not going to believe this until it's right in front of me. And until then, I just have to have faith. Because I'm also telling myself, Emily, if 10 years from now, you are in the same spot that you're in right now, I can't even go there. I can't even think about it. And so that change has to be made. The other part it seems insurmountably difficult is letting go of a piece of my identity. Like I said, there's like the Pisces in me who wants to hustle, hustle, hustle. And the other part of me that craves a quiet, simple life. And what I'm doing there and how I'm working through that is redefining what it means to be a successful businesswoman and challenging the stories and beliefs that I've had for so long that how many hours you work equates to how hard of a worker you are. I think part of it too is I carry a lot of Irish Catholic guilt. I carry a lot of guilt from my past self who was such a hard worker, and I'm still such a hard worker. But like, I was a teacher who worked from 6 a.m. I worked on my business. I got up at 4 a.m., worked my business, taught at school from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then I stayed after school so I could work on my business for hours. And I almost feel guilty that I don't have to put in as many hours as I used to. And it's like, I was such a hustler for so long, and I would see people who were successful that didn't have to work as much, and I'd be like, you'd be like and I think people in the workforce get it. Like, I would look at other people who had jobs who it seemed like they didn't work as much, and I'd be like, if only you knew how hard I work. And so that part of me, she is still inside of me, and it's hard. I think I sort of have to, and I say this to my clients too, like, talk to her and help her be more open-minded and reframe what a successful, hardworking businesswoman looks like. And the new idea of that is not somebody who is so burnt out, and it's not somebody who hustles for the sake of hustling and exhausts themselves for the sake of being exhausted at the end of the day. Actually, the most shrewd, clever, intelligent, strategic businesswoman is the one who doesn't have to do that because she has built something that runs so well, and she has systems and she has balance. That's something I'm really working on. And so here I go again. I cannot help myself whenever I sit down and do these chats. I'm like, okay, let's stop talking about me and let's start talking about how it helps you. It's like so in my nature. I actually really don't like talking about myself. I feel very uncomfortable. When I do, I'm very much like a listener and helper. So let me just get this out of my system of how does this apply to you? Is if you believe in terms of your health and the diet you eat, that it's never gonna happen for you, like you don't deserve it, all you know is working on diets and failing and crash dieting and never being successful, open up your mind and be willing to rewrite the story where it's actually a very pleasant experience and you very much enjoy it and it's effortless and it doesn't require exhaustion. How would that feel for you? It'd probably feel weird and foreign. That's how it's feeling for me to step into this new sort of business where I'm not on the phone all day and I'm not on calls all day. It feels extraordinarily unsettling and foreign, but that's just my nervous system getting used to it. And this is something else that I'm doing. This is a third point I'll bring up, is just being very observant, aware, and curious of how my brain is rewiring itself during this time, and noticing and saying, isn't that interesting? So as my brain and my nervous system gets used to things being quieter, not being in meetings all the time, not being on the phone all the time, saying, isn't that interesting how when I'm not on calls in the morning, I feel this sense of anxiety boil up. That's interesting. I'm gonna notice the anxiety come and go. And I'm gonna trust that day after day after day, it's going to get lower and lower and lower. So the overarching themes of sort of this change that I'm going through is that it takes patience, faith, and trust. And then always reminding yourself, hey, you can always go back to what you were doing beforehand. But 10 years from now, this is what I said in my high school graduation speech. I said to the crowd, I gave the speech and I said, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that it's a Mark Twain quote. This is not a Healthy Emmie quote. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. That's what I said to my graduating class. And it was actually that quote that inspired me to start my YouTube channel. Because I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like, if I'm 20 years from now and I haven't done the one thing that I want to do, I like literally cannot even go there. So yeah, change is hard. It's really hard, but you have to remind yourself why you're doing it. And why I'm doing it, that's what I continue to remind myself of, is A, why I'm doing it. And I'll talk about that in a sec. But also I just keep fast forwarding to, like, if I'm in the same exact spot with the same exact business model a year from now, or that I was a year ago, which I'm not. I've made, over the past year and a half, I've made tremendous changes to my business model. And I'm so glad that I did. Like, if I was in the same spot right now as I was a year ago, I would be very upset. But I keep saying to myself, like, Emily, don't run back to what feels safe and familiar. You know how that movie ends. You've done it a million times, and it always ends in frustration and regret for doing it. So do the scary thing, jump, see what happens. It could be the greatest thing that ever happens. And if it doesn't work out, go back to what you were doing beforehand. But over the past year or so, it's worked out really well so far. I don't feel like I'm quote unquote there yet, but business owners are probably laughing, or like anybody's probably laughing listening to that, because they're like, you're never there, which I understand. You're never really there. But from a business perspective, I haven't made the full shift. Well, I'm making the shift, but it hasn't clicked yet. Did you get anything beneficial from this? This is so hard for me to do, to sit down and talk about how I'm feeling as I go through change. I really hope this helped. If this helped one person, that makes me so happy. So if this sort of openness and vulnerability is what you enjoy, it's my favorite thing to watch. So let me know if this is helpful for you. It's really hard for me, but I'll do it for you. And let me know what you're going through right now, where you could use like a girlfriend chat and like a coffee chat. And I haven't even taken a sip of my tea because I've just been talking the whole time. This is Picla Ginger. This is a reusable cup. It's not it's glass. But let me know what you're going through right now, because, you know, maybe I could share if it's something that I could relate to, and we can keep this conversation going. I promised you guys I was going to show you my wind down routine. So something that I've started to implement is a wind down routine at the end, or I call it my shut down routine, so that I can shut down work and then be 100% present in my personal life. So my goal is to continue to move back when I do the wind down routine. This is something I very much have struggled with, is doing the shut down routine far too late, and then I get very limited time, personal time at the end of the day, and then I go to bed later than I want to. So I'm continuing on working to move this back, but this allows for a nice harsh divide between the workday and my personal life. So I'm gonna share with you my shutdown routine, and we're actually going to do it right now. So the first thing that I do is I respond to any Slack and WhatsApp messages. So I use Slack to communicate and WhatsApp to communicate with my team. So I just check, close those out for the day, and then my assistant and I always say goodbye and good night to each other. So like I say good night and goodbye to her, respond to any messages. So let's do that. Okay, next thing on my list is I actually respond to any, looking for my phone, personal text messages. So I usually don't look at my personal phone during the day. And I like having this boundary set up, because then I'm not constantly checking my phone during the day, always responding back to those. I let things come during the day, and then I check at the end of the day and respond to everything. Found it. So let's respond to all the personal messages here. Next, I'm gonna lock in tomorrow's schedule. I live, breathe, and die by my Google Calendar. And every Friday I put in the next week sort of a rough plan, but things change day to day and you know how that goes. So the next thing I'm gonna do here is lock in my schedule for tomorrow so that when I wake up tomorrow, I know exactly what I'm doing and I time block everything. So I have a color coordinated Google Calendar and I time block exactly what my tasks are. So let's do that. Now, I am pulling out my journal here because what I've been doing is every day I have a custom journal prompt as it relates to my business. So if you want to do this every day, join the Slim program because I have a journal topic in there every single day for you. But here is how I do it as a business owner. So every Monday I answer the same question, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every day has a different question. So for example, today's Tuesday. So today's question is, what is the game plan from today's strategy meeting? So I have a strategy meeting every Tuesday morning, and I like at the end of the day to be able to make sure that I have complete clarity on what that strategy is. And it's really great too because it raises some questions and things to think about, so I can shoot off a couple texts like, hey, now that I'm thinking about this a little bit later. But Monday is what am I excited and hopeful for this week? Tuesday, I just said. Wednesday, what did I do today that supports my bigger goals? Thursday, what am I learning or noticing about myself this week? And Friday, what am I proud of? What can I release heading into the weekend? So I wrote these as a business owner and sort of entrepreneur business oriented. But like I said, in the Slim program, I give you a new question every single day. So you can head into the Slim program, do that. So we're going to journal, and then we are gonna do 2 more things to shut down. Okay, now I shut down the office. So I'm gonna vacuum, I'm gonna clean. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a cleaning person who cleans the office after the workers have left. I clean the office, turn off the computer, shut everything down. And part of that includes changing my date block so that it is all set for tomorrow. I'm gonna take off my work glasses. These are blue light blocking glasses. I have certain ones that I use at work, and then when I take these off, I don't use these in my personal life. I have different ones that I use. I love having that division. Last thing I'm gonna do is commute. Commute. I leave my apartment, go outside, come back in, and then shower, have dinner, all that. I love you, honeys. Thank you for being a part of this community. I adore you, and I'll see you in my next video.